When you were in, what was your? I forgot. Like being a lieutenant, being a captain, you had to deal with some amazing
Americans. Yes, I did.
What is like one of the worst ones where it just stuck with you? I always love this, you to see the true back in the military.
So one that will never leave me, and like to this day, just like makes me super angry. And it's actually like two kids because they were like buddies, and
I can already hear the resentment.
Oh, I'm angry thinking about it. So if I have to breathe more, it's because my heart rate's through the roof. So this guy, he gets in, brand new private, it's like 18 years old, him and his buddy, they're like buddies from basic training, and like already they're just kind of like shitbags. Like they never want to do anything, they suck. They're like getting into fights with dudes, and like we had a really cohesive platoon and company at the time. So like the fact that they were like getting into fights with people, like fist fights on a range, we're like, what the is going on here? And so like at one point we're like, oh, these dudes, like something bad's gonna happen, we need to like figure out, like it was like me, my platoon sergeant, company commander, and we're like, how do we deal with this? Before we get a chance to figure out how to deal with this, private so-and-so one day just doesn't show up for morning formation. We're like, that's weird. So we go ask his buddies, like, where is he? We ask his roommate, like, where is he? He goes, oh, I don't know. And then, well, his car's in the parking lot, like something weird's happening. We're calling him a million times. We're texting him. We go to like his like family roster, like because we had all the contact information for people's families in case something like this happened. And so like we call his mom, we call his aunts, and like after like a day, I'm like, I finally get his mom on the phone. I'm like, hey, do you know where Private so-and-so is, your son? And she goes like, yeah, he's here. I'm like, where is here? And she's like, Los Angeles. And for reference, I was in Fort Hood at the time here in Texas, so nowhere close.
Oops.
So I'm like, might need a pass, and you have to put in paperwork if you go over how many miles?
Like 250. And I think I'm not a geography expert, but I do believe Killeen, Texas is more than 250 miles away from Los Angeles.
Pretty good odds on that.
Someone can fact check me that.
You did go to college.
Yeah. And
it's at West Point Education.
Yeah, I know where major cities in the United States are. It's great. You two can learn this information if you apply yourself. But so I'm like, okay, is he okay? Like we're like, what the is going on? She goes like, yeah, he's fine, but we don't think he's gonna come back. And we're like, what do you mean he's not coming back? Like
there's a certain crime that describes that.
Yeah, it's like, so like we're like, okay, we're like, well, we kind of saw this coming. Like we throw him on like the no-fly list, we like put him on AWOL status, all this other stuff. I finally get in contact with him.
You go on the no-fly list if you go AWOL?
If you're AWOL and you try to go through like TSA or you get pulled over, you're supposed to like immediately get arrested.
I never knew that.
Yeah. Like those dudes who like, you hear stories where dudes are like AWOL for like 30 years or something. That has to be the most stressful thing because you get one ticket, you get pulled over one time and it's like, you haven't been to Fort Bragg in 30 years, but boy, you're going back. Like, anyway.
Jeez. What do they do with people like that? Like, let's say you've been AWOL for like 2 years. They catch you. What?
If it's like I think it's like, there's like, it's not really a statute of limitations on it, but like kind of how I've seen it is like, if it's like 30 years or something crazy, they're just gonna be like, all right, man, like here's just some really quick paperwork and like send you on your way. They might go to jail. They might get a fine. At that point, it's kind of like whatever.
Not like we could use you now.
Yeah. If it's like 2 years, dudes will typically get like arrested and like actually serve like a full punishment, like get crime, maybe sent off somewhere depending on like what they did, because a lot of times like if a dude is caught AWOL, he's being arrested. So you're stacking up stuff on top.
I can't imagine living 30 years without flying or having a cop run your information in any way.
It doesn't always work, but that's how it's supposed to work. Right. So like the first thing we did was, and like for us it didn't work, and I'll get to that part later because like as soon as we found out, we're like no fly list. Anyway, finally get a hold of him and we're like, what is going on? The short of the long is that he went all the way back to Los Angeles to film a rap video with his friends. And if it was good, if it was a good song, if it was a good music video, whatever, I'd have been more forgiving. But the song itself was also trash. So I'm like, this is unforgivable.
Can you shout it out? What was it?
I don't even remember, but if I find it, I will send it to you guys.
We'll put it right here.
Right there. And so then like, and that was like annoying. It's like, all right, whatever. It's just a kid being really stupid. He's 18. I did stupid stuff later. When he gets back, he comes back with his mom and his aunt.
God.
So they all come back, and like he had been feeding his family these lies, basically. So like this guy had been in.
Oh, I think you told us part of this.
Yeah, maybe like he had been with us for like maybe 6 weeks, and in that 6 weeks we hadn't gone to the field at all. We were like on the we were like just starting our train up cycle. So the only things we were doing were like going to the range and doing basic marksmanship, like doing maintenance for stuff that we're gonna do in a few months, like getting ready for the hard stuff. He had not spent a single night out of his bed, like in the whole time he was with us. And it was like during the drawdown of COVID. So like a lot of stuff was still like super careful, and like that slowed down training for the military a ton.
This is peacetime army too.
Yeah. No, like this kid was just like showing up, collecting a paycheck, and like I was a benevolent dictator. I let my guys go early, so like he was also like back in his barracks by like 3:30 p.m. most days. Like I was like he had it like super easy. So he comes back with his mom and his aunt, and this is like when I got really angry because like she like demanded a meeting with like me, my platoon sergeant, our commander, like my company commander, and our company first sergeant.
Can you just do that?
At that point, we were like, I forget what had just happened, but like we were on like, oh, it was, yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Than what I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, I should have put that together way faster, frankly.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say the quiet part out loud.
I'm just like,
He said rap video, then he brought his mom and aunts back.
Yeah.
He brought auntie.
Yeah, auntie.
Not dad,
auntie is more,
but auntie.
Auntie is a more accurate word to use, I would say.
guess that race.
Who's that Pokemon?
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing, like arresting people. You would have mom and auntie would always come in with an 18, 19-year-old. Needs to speak to the arresting officer, needs to speak to their sergeant, lieutenant, and the chief of police.
Yeah.
Need to speak with them right now.
Yeah, she was like demanding like our like full bird colonel. I'm like, I think he's a little busy for what's going on right now, but I'll shoot him an email. Never shot him an email.
I was gonna say, I didn't know you could just walk onto a base and demand parlay with whoever runs it.
Something had just happened. I think it was like some big scandal I think had just hit around that time where we were all like super sensitive to that kind of stuff. So like even our commander was like, hey, we're like in full damage control right now. Like if one more thing hits the media from this base, like because it's Fort Hood, so like a lot of bad stuff at the time was coming out of Fort Hood. Like if one more thing comes out of Fort Hood, like we're all toasted and we're never going to see the light of day again. Yeah. And so we're like, yeah, sure, whatever. And so she had this like notebook, like, you know, like the black and white splotchy notebooks you give to like third graders.
Like the composition.
Yeah, the composition books. It's wide. Of course, it's wide. It's not going to be college ruled because those lines are too narrow for these kinds of people. And this situation makes me angry. And it looked like she had like these notes that she had written, and it was scribbled as if she was holding the pen down like this, writing like this, and like the most like unintelligible things ever. And she's like, well, these are all the things you did bad to my son. And she's like, you
waited until you got there to write them.
The handwriting looked like she did it while like trying to balance on like a unicycle or something. It was anyway.
Oh, you didn't see her using the pen. You
Oh,
just
no.
knew it was just,
I just
yeah, okay.
figured based on the size and how, not to be like that guy judging people on their handwriting, but there is a level where you're like, all right, there's something like wrong
Barely
here.
literate.
Yeah. And she's like, you've been emotionally and mentally abusing my son, and like you starved him. So like he got COVID once and he had to like go in quarantine for a week, and like you starved him for a week. I had to send him money for food. And we're like, we literally had a detail of like 10 dudes who would regularly bring people food. And like we asked his roommate who's quarantined with him, we're like, hey, you guys got fed, right? They're like, yeah, we didn't even eat half the stuff you guys gave us because like we just ordered pizzas. And we're like, okay, so obviously not. And so we're like, okay, well,
There's where that food money went, though.
yeah. And so it's like, well, and like at the time I was like, all right, well, maybe I missed something. Like, you know, I'm 3 levels up from where he is. So maybe like his team leader or squad leader or section leader doing something that like I missed somehow. I'm like, can you please give me examples? Like, I want to make sure this isn't like a thing. And they're like, well, we don't. And she's like flipping back and forth between the same 2 pages. Like, well, I don't have any here, but you've been abusing my son. We're like, all right, I don't think we've been abusing your son. I think he's been doing just fine.
Could you please give me examples? Because I think you're just a bitch, but I want to make sure.
Oh, at that point, like I was just like,
Exhibit A. It's a bad draw.
yeah,
Just mean army man.
Mean army man, like, oh.
yeah.
He's crying big tears.
And she's like, you haven't been taking his asthma into account. We're like, your son has asthma and he signed up to be in the infantry. Like, what are you doing? And she's like, well, he lied at MEP about the asthma thing. We're like, okay, so
Perjury.
So that's very illegal.
Well, also, he lied.
Yeah, interesting. and then I remember like they're like, okay, well, we think I should mention this whole time it's just him and his mom and his auntie talking at us, and he's like sitting in the corner like all hunched over, like all like whatever. And we're like, oh, I hate you so much. Like I'm just looking at them like I'm gonna rip your throat out the second these people leave.
The 18-year-old kid.
Oh yeah, and so they're like, well, I think I don't know if I'm allowed to. Hopefully, I'm allowed to say this, but he's like, oh, like and you guys have made him like suicidal. We're like, okay, like you've said the magic words, like we'll go do the little checklist we got to do now, and then like so I had to like escort him over to the hospital. And I remember there's like a little incline. And I should also mention, mommy and auntie were not in the best shape ever. So this is like a small win I had for the day.
Mild shock.
Yeah, yeah, really. The parking lot that we stopped at was like slightly downhill of the hospital. So I like walked really fast up the hill. So I just heard them go like behind me. I'm like, that's my only win for today. Like I had to get that in.
I'd been like, man, first off, statistically speaking, he's not white, so he's not going to kill himself.
True.
Second, why are you winded? Okay, just go on.
But and so like when we got there and I go because I'm his escort at that point. I'm not allowed to leave his side, like legally according to the army, not allowed to leave his side. And so we go into this room and it's me, him, and this army psych, and they're like, oh, okay, you're suicidal and all this other stuff. And she goes like, well, I don't. Then like they talk for a few minutes, and she's like, the psych was like, I don't think you're suicidal. Like you don't have a plan to kill yourself. And he goes like, oh, I'm gonna take a lot of pills. And she goes, there it is. And she like writes it down. I shit you not, that's how the conversation went. And then she pulls me outside. She goes like, is he in trouble or something? I'm like, yeah, he's in a lot of trouble. And she goes like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and then
the sudden onset suicidalism disorder.
It's crazy how that works.
I'm a runaway.
But
stick.
Yeah, but for the next like 6 weeks, because it's not just instant. Like you're out the next day. He had to like do all this out processing and like get cleared by mental health and all that other stuff. So he was still with us for like 6 weeks to 2 months. And like sure enough, someone's like, "Hey, we got to paint." So I'm like, "Stop there. I got someone for you." Like, say less. To the point where like even my own commander is like, "Hey Justin, we got to cut that out." I'm like, "I'm gonna keep destroying this kid, like I don't care." And because he caused me like so much. That was like 90% of my time then turned into like dealing with this kid instead of like my actual soldiers who were like motivated and wanted to train and we were like on the upscale of like a training cycle. So I'm really busy. I'm trying to focus on the other things, and I have to make sure that like this guy checked into the CQ desk every hour to make sure he didn't, off himself or whatever.
If you're going to steal suicidal valor, we're going to make you pay for it.
Oh yeah, he paid for it. But so he had a buddy, and his buddy was like this like super hick kid, and but like no one in the platoon liked them. No one in the shocker. No one in the company liked them. So they kind of like just banded together, and we're like, if we could just like, we're like, my boss is like, okay, these people are cancer, and we have to keep everyone away from them so they don't infect anyone else. And so sure enough, like a few weeks later, like this kid comes into my office. He's like literal tears in his eyes. He's like, I don't want to be in the army anymore. And we're like, okay, what's going on? Like, let's have a talk. Me and my platoon sergeant, we brought him to the office, closed the door, very respectful. We're like, hey, maybe this other kid was maybe we can save this kid. Like, we can always use another gun on the line. So like, let's try to like be okay with this kid. So like very honest conversation. We're like, all right, what's going on? And he was like, well, I joined the army on a dare and I don't want to be here anymore. We're like, what do you mean you joined the army on a dare? And like, he's like actually crying while he's saying this. He was like, well, my uncle said I wouldn't do it. And I said, no, and then I did. And we're like, oh, dude, like now you're here in our office wearing a camo uniform.
How long's he been in at this point?
At that point, maybe like 2-3 months. Like, and again, like the hard stuff being away, like training overnight, if you want to call it that. It hadn't even really started yet. So this kid, like, we're like, all right, well, and he's like, well, I have like a few good reasons why I think I should be out of the Army. We're like, okay, what are they? And he's like, well, one, my uncle runs a lawnmower business and people won't show up for work. We're like, okay, don't know how that's your problem, but okay, you know what? That's, you care about your family, man. What's the next one? And he's like, well, my mom got fired. And we're like, okay, you know, that's whatever. And then
2 things that aren't relevant so far.
We're like, all right, you know, really hoping for this third. And
Hey, terrorism, can you take a pause?
this
Mom
guy
got laid off.
Mom got laid off. Just at least wait for the unemployment to kick in and then keep doing what you're doing, true believer.
True believer goes so hard.
Oh yeah. And they're like, all right, really banking on this third one. And he goes like, well, I can't be with my fiance. We're like, all right, you know, family separation's hard. We've all been there. Like, what's the deal? Why can't she just come here and all this stuff? And she's like, well, her parents won't let her until she lives with her parents, and her parents won't let her until she graduates. So we're like, oh, like, graduate what? And he goes like, high school. And we're like, oh God, like we're getting another one. And then sure enough, a week later, Private so-and-so's not a morning formation. We're like, all right, well, and at the time he had like this really identifiable rundown like red truck. And we're like, all right, go look for it in the barracks. Can't find it in the barracks. So like, all right, well, you know, at least he took it and he's alive somewhere. And so we're like, go. And I me and my platoon sergeant, like, we butt heads for like a couple, like come up with an idea. We're like, hey, we grab one of our section leaders. We're like, hey, go to the closest hotel off post. And he's like, why? We're like, go look for so-and-so's truck. He's like,
I hate where I know where this is going.
Sure enough, not even 10 minutes later, I get a picture on my phone, like, he's here. And we're like,
is he with a 16-year-old?
I think I don't think she was, I think she's a little older than that.
That's good. Better, yeah. I'm still going to guess not the magic number.
Not the magic number.
Yeah.
But, you know, it is what it is.
And that's when it becomes your problem.
And that's when it became my problem. I think she's the magic number now. It's been a few years.
That's good.
You know, I hope they are just so happy and unemployed together because we got him out of the Army too. And we didn't even arrest him. We're like, you know, just come back, please. Please just come back. We really don't want to do the paperwork to arrest you. We know where you are. Like, you're right here. We're outside of your door. Please just come back.
He pulled my buddy couldn't get out on the suicidal thing, so he decided he was going to try the statutory rape thing.
You know, there's many paths up the one mountain, as some people say. We had one guy. This was like my first week as a platoon leader too. So we were forward deployed to Romania at the time, and this dude's like, oh, I'm gonna kill myself, blah blah. And that, you know, if it's peacetime, no one was shooting at us. We're like, yeah, just suicide watch, go home. And so he goes home, and then he sends these Snapchats to his buddies in the company of him holding a machete in front of his mother-in-law's house where his wife was staying, because he thought that she was cheating on him, which is valid. Jody happens. And
which part's valid?
Yeah.
Well, the idea that she might potentially be fooling around.
It's like, not valid response.
No, I'm not.
The machete. It's like valid.
Hey, we all been there.
Yeah.
Some
Just putting that on Snapchat. Just some quick selfies, real fast.
Yeah. So he sends those snaps to his buddies in the company.
Might murder my wife later.
Yeah. Well,
hey, you up?
We're getting to that part.
Oh no.
Don't worry. And so
I'm worried.
So he sends a Snapchat with like this, like, the bitch gets it tonight. We're like, oh. So he goes into his mother-in-law's house.
You guys are all taking bets.
Yeah. Well, and so he then like, oh dude, he's gonna do it.
This is a group chat where you're not helping.
Yeah. And so he then attempts to murder both individuals, fails. Both people are alive. I won't say well, but they're alive today. Naturally, he gets caught and all that other stuff. So, and then naturally, we have to kick him out of the platoon. And like officially we said it was because, if you try to murder your wife, you probably shouldn't be in the Army with us. But the unofficial reasoning was, if you as an infantryman can't kill 2 unarmed civilians with a machete, how on earth are we expecting you to kill people who are trying to kill us? Your services will no longer be required in this platoon.
Both remarkably fair reasons.
Yeah. So, but after we had the 2 guys go AWOL, we like unofficially named our platoon the Runaways. And then like we had this big platoon flag because we were the Misfits. That was our thing. And underneath the big flag in my office, there was like a second smaller sign that said the Runaways. And it's like without leave, without fear. So,
That's funny.
yeah.